Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Let the conversation begin. This is Let's Talk with your host, Carl Lee.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee, and it's one of those kind of days. It's been a busy day, a lot of things going on, but this is Let's Talk with Carl Lee and my co-host Hollis Lewis. We're here. We're going to touch. We're going to touch on probably the second half of the show. We're going to probably touch on something that I think is going to be pretty interesting. We've somewhat discussed it, but I think we have some facts and some reality to what it actually looks like. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Did your team win? I was for Kansas City. I had no reason to go against Kansas City. I thought they would be the best team. And one of the things that me and Dave was talking about, I asked the question, is that quarterback, is that quarterback the best quarterback that we've seen?
I can't say that. I can say from my perspective, because he doesn't usurp Brady at this point.
Right.
He's the most talented, though. I mean, because I think I mentioned this before on the show. I mean, he could throw, like I said, from 12 o'clock to about 3, 4 o'clock. Far as if you look at his arm angles, like he's phenomenal. And the best two plays of the game was the zone read plays.
Let me ask this question with Brady, because Dave said the same thing. Yeah. You got to look at you got to look at those types of quarterbacks, that history of quarterbacks that's been so great that have won more Super Bowls, maybe won more games, whatever the case may be. But in the overall skill set,
there's no doubt.
In just like if they're standing side by side, so you got Brady and you got Mahomes, and they're standing side by side, who you pick?
That's tough.
Yeah, it is.
But I mean, that's insane. That's super hard. But I would have to go Brady, because I think what you saw when he left New England, because everybody was like, I think most people, the consensus was like, well, this is Brady and Belichick. It was kind of this was the team that was doing this. Right. And then once you saw Brady leave, he goes to the playoffs, then he actually wins the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, and then Tampa Bay, and then you see Belichick just pretty much struggling. And then if you look at Belichick's record outside of Brady, it's pedestrian at best.
But let me ask you, Mahomes somewhere else, new coach.
Would it yet to be seen.
Yeah, true.
But true. I think Andy Reid's record, as far as like he was with Philly. Philly had tremendous success with Andy Reid. Yes. They went to 4 straight NFC championships, went to the 1 Super Bowl. So he was a successful coach somewhere else with a different quarterback. I mean, he had a success with McNabb, Vic, Cobb. So he had success with other quarterbacks.
And let's make the case with Vic. Vic was in that transition of that quarterback that could literally, you got to play that he can run the football.
Yeah, for sure.
And people were like, "Oh, wait a minute, we don't really want to go down this way because the quarterback is too valuable. He's making too much money. We don't want the running quarterback. We don't mind a scramble out of the pocket, get you 10, 15, 5 if you need it, but we don't want him running a play that's designed for him." So now I think that, are we saying that the quarterback, can we run the quarterback? Can he snap it and run it? What if you don't have? Going back to Brady couldn't. You could never have that with Brady.
But I think Brady, with his legs, he would get you, whether it was running out the pocket or doing a quarterback sneak. Brady's going to get you 3-4 first downs a game. I think
I give you that.
I give you that. When I told Coach Pennington this the other day, when you're assessing a quarterback's run, I don't care about the quarterback's yards overall, as far as rushing yards. I don't care about his average. I care about, as a quarterback, if I'm coaching a quarterback, how many first downs are you getting per game? How many first downs with your legs are you getting in that season? That's the running stat, because that's what we need you to do. When things break down, when things aren't going right, when the defense is locked up, you know what I'm saying? For example, they're in that man-to-man, and you ain't got nothing downfield. I need you to get first downs. So that's what, and I think that if you look at the Super Bowl, that's what Mahomes did. He got those 2 first downs with his legs that were critical to the game.
Yeah, and
special teams too.
And Montana, okay, I think is a comparison to Mahomes to the degree of games being close and being able to play through that.
I give you that.
Okay. But I don't know if I can give him the versatility though of Mahomes.
Definitely not. I mean, Brady in Montana and Brady, would be more skill set would be more like. But it would be hard for me to choose at this point anybody over Tom Brady, because I just think, far as preparation, far as mentality, far as just IQ. Having IQ, just having that intangible that you can't buy, which I think Mahomes has that too. It's just that, like I said, I think when his career is over, he's going to be number one.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And let me ask this. Okay, so to your point of the comparisons to some of the other great quarterbacks, is it that Mahomes makes it the way he makes it look, it seems easy. It seems like, how did he know to throw it sidearm? What made him pitch it? What made him do this? Like that I mean, because when we start talking about IQ and there's that IQ and skill set is an amazing combination, right? Amazing combination. And I'm thinking he's sitting on the cusp of like the top of both of those.
Top of the both.
And I don't know. I know some quarterbacks have this and not that. Mm-hmm. Some of that and a lot of that, and they've come out to be great. They've got Super Bowls. They've got MVPs. They've got all of that. Is that the measure? Do we measure the quarterback? Do we have to measure the quarterback specifically by Super Bowls?
I think Super Bowls is definitely the ultimate measuring stick. But I think your ability to just guide your team, I think your ability to win tight games, your ability to not mess it up. I think, to me, like, they won't ever get like the credit, but like a Brad Johnson or a Trent Dilfer, right? When you have that level, when you have those greater teams, when you have all-time great defense like that Tampa Bay and that Ravens defense.
You're talking about Brad Johnson that played in Minnesota too?
He played in Minnesota, played in Tampa.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, when you take those type of guys, when you have all-time, I mean, like, you could probably take that defense and just make it an all-time defense when you have that sort of greater teams. For them just to not really, to just carry on the ship, just to manage and guide it down the field, down like throughout the season, and just let everything work and not try to do too much. I think that's a skill set in itself. So when I'm looking at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, to me, I mean, it's almost unmeasurable, because I just think, to me, he has the most talent of anybody to ever play the position, the most arm talent. I would put like him, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers like 1-1. Even like Lamar Jackson to a certain degree, just as far as their ability to throw at different arm angles. Not just that, the ability to throw on the run, the ability to throw on the run, running right and throwing back left, which is, is a quarterback no-no.
Yeah, that.
And they've just he's literally broken every single rule and made it work. And so you can't coach that.
And exactly. And the other reality to that is, none of those other quarterbacks, like Joe Montana, would never do that, because it had been taught, you don't throw back. You don't throw back across your body.
And maybe he just didn't have the ability to do.
And that's one of those kind of things we will never know.
Never know. Yeah.
But for sure, it had been embedded in him as long as he was a quarterback. Any one of these great quarterbacks back in the day coming through the process, you knew, do not throw back across the field. Mm-hmm. Do not throw sidearm. Do not flick it. All of those kind of things were told that you could not do. It's amazing to me that Mahomes has done it at the level in which it's acceptable. And now you're talking about maybe another quarterback's got to be able to.
No, that's the thing. I don't think it's acceptable now. I think it's mandatory because I think think it's mandatory because, number one, I think, again, if you look at like Matthew Stafford, he has a little bit. If you look at like Lamar Jackson, he has a little bit. Aaron Rodgers obviously has that. I think I would probably put him second as far as arm talent. But I'm saying like now as far as like the defense.
And a lot of that's off the scramble.
Yeah, it's off the scramble.
Yeah.
And even in the pocket because these guys are just too big and fast.
Right.
So you trying to sit back there and just think you just going to just be a traditionalist and not be able to actually improvise and make those throws happen in the tightest, not even necessarily tight windows, but you don't have lanes to throw because these guys are just so big and so fast. I mean, even like, behind your own line. I mean, I was talking to Coach Pennington. He was saying like, look, we got to get bigger just up front just to have the mass to go. So as a quarterback, you got to throw around those big guys, right? You know what I mean? So it's just, I think it's mandatory that you have some level of that. Now, are you going to be as good as him doing it? I doubt it. But you got to be able to do a little bit of it.
Because you're going to be trying to coach. You're going to try to coach a person to do this. Yeah. When I don't know if Mahomes was coached to do it. I just think it's just reaction.
And I would, when we talked about this before, I think it was the baseball thing. His dad was a baseball player. He grew up playing baseball. So I think it was one of those things where he took that baseball, thing like probably nobody else took it before. Right. And actually he throws a football almost like a baseball. Because the baseball player throw a sidearm, overarm, depending on where they're throwing it and how they're throwing it. So he's taking that baseball thing and actually put it into football and actually made it work where it's not on. And the thing to me, it's not as though these throws are fluky. He's super accurate.
Yeah, this yeah. It's not like it's like he's just throwing it and it's incomplete.
Yeah, these are accurate on the dime.
The right distance, at the right part of the body to where you can catch it. And that dude has either run a route, broke his route, and is coming back or going left or right to the ball, and he's putting it right where you're supposed to put it.
And remember, he's 28, so I think if you give him another 10 years.
How long did Brady play? How old was Brady?
43, 45, 44.
I mean, look at that.
That's what I'm saying. These guys are taking better care of their body than ever. They're not, they're not. And that's why I had an argument online with somebody because I had my top four Mount Rushmore quarterbacks. I had, Brady, Montana, Mahomes, and Peyton Manning. And he was arguing me about Montana. I was like, dude, Montana played against LT.
How old is he?
He's a young guy.
Okay, he can't see it.
Because he was kind of just looking at the numbers. And I'm like, yeah, number one, that was more of a running-based league back then. And you're playing against guys who could just tee off. These guys were just helmet in your gut.
Yes.
Helmet in your chin. So that's a different sort of thing. And Joe Cool was the baddest man out there.
If anybody, there is no way that when you say quarterback, if your mind doesn't think Montana, you're too young or you're crazy.
Man. Yeah, Joe Cool was the man. You know what I mean?
Because there's no way that the quarterback talk, and maybe even to the degree of comparison, is Montana.
Yeah, because the thing is, and that's why.
And again, because what? Championships too.
And your ability to, because again, you got to remember then, there wasn't really like a running quarterback model per se.
No.
Or even if it was, it wasn't something that was promoted. So the idea was that you stand in that pocket, you deliver the ball. And in standing in that pocket, you are going to face the brunt of, those guys coming full speed, uninhibited, ain't no late quarterback hits, ain't no unnecessary roughness to that degree, and you got to deliver the ball accurately.
Man, again, facing him and beating him and then seeing him absolutely destroy the same defense, same people, same scheme the very next year. Like you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like what?
Good.
Yes, he was just that good. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. It's really, really hard to kind of compare types of quarterbacks sometimes. But I don't care what type you call or that you're trying to rank. Montana's going to be in.
Yeah, because I think, to me, and we got to remember Montana he was a game away from going back to the Super Bowl with the Chiefs?
Yes.
He was very successful in that iteration. But when I look at quarterbacks, I have like three categories. I think you have the Montana category. It's more of a traditionalist. I think you have like that. Well, I think you have like that Randall Cunningham, which would be like Vic. That would be
basically the black quarterback that was.
Well,
that was coming through the league that was not overly accepted.
Yeah, but I would also put like Ben Roethlisberger. I would put my guy from Buffalo in there. I would put those type of quarterbacks in there. Cam Newton. I would put those guys who could pass, who could run, who had different styles of running. Ben Roethlisberger was like a tight end or a fullback, right? And I would put. There's another category: Mahomes, Rodgers, Brett Favre, where it's just the arm talent.
You sound like a Packer fan.
Yeah. I'm not at all, but the arm talent was just so it's so crazy that they defy a lot of things what traditionalists might and they can make them throws that not too many people can just make.
I give you that. Now, me and Dave had a conversation earlier about the Kelce incident. And this was my response to it. Mm-hmm. There is no way that could happen on a sideline and a coach and the player. I mean, I get that the buddy relationship and the importance of the relevance of both of the coach and the player, but that was public. There's no way that any player short of someone like Kelce can get away with that. Yeah, there's no way. And here's the thing, the league is not saying anything because the coach and the player we're good. Mm-hmm. Everything is good. We won. It was just a moment there that we had, and so what tells you that you can't push your D coordinator or your offensive coordinator or the head coach because you don't like it?
Well, what tells me that because most of them ain't Travis Kelce. That's probably what says that.
But like I know, athletes are not fair in the process of judging. Like I can make the case I'm as good a quarterback as you are.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
But I think if you probably know your pecking order. You know that. He
didn't know.
He does know, and I know
some great players who would never do that. But John Randall would never do that.
But you can't say y'all probably done got spats, screaming matches with the coach because y'all both grown men.
Yes. But you ain't nowhere even coming close to putting your chest on him.
Yeah, but I think even now it's just the financial and everything else in the star power and blah 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 blah. Everything that's probably already been said about it. That's part of that. You know what I'm saying? But I would say to a degree, I just think that's, unfortunately, it's sort of like a microcosm of what sports have turned into. Can we say that? Because I think we see that sort of bad, and I'm just saying, for lack of better words, we see that sort of bad behavior happening at every level, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah. And it's ironic because
on the biggest stage, it's ironic that happened there. It happens on the no stage.
Here's the thing. I can't, I'm trying to, my career in the league, I'm trying to picture Bud Grant, okay? I'm putting Bud as the guy to Kansas City coach, okay? They're both Hall of Fames, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to figure out who in their right mind on our football team would have walked up to Bud and bumped him and thought that he would even be on the team after, because he's not even going to be on the sideline at that moment.
Yeah, but it's different though now, man.
But is it okay? And this is the thing that we keep talking about. It's different. Mm-hmm. But when do we look at it and say different is not better?
I'm not disagreeing with you on that point. I'm just saying, like, the reality is that he's Travis Kelce on that team for not only what he contributes on the field, but off the field and everything else, the star player. He's worth several hundreds of millions of dollars to that organization, and that wasn't necessarily the case then. I guess the argument that I'm making is that I think it's going to get. I think it has the potential to get worse just because of, like I said, just how we've taken sports and just, I don't know what we've done to it. Like, because as you mentioned in our text, I had forgot about the whole, somebody had got shot at the parade.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where are we going? And we've seen locally, right? It was a news story out in Huntington where some parents were fighting at a biddy ball game.
We had an incident. We had an incident at Youth All-Stars, Basketball All-Stars. We had an incident that showed up, and nothing drastic, but the game was tight, mm-hmm. and you know, and the individual who I know, man, he ain't ever gonna say it. He sits at the top of the bleachers. He ain't trying to say anything. Yeah. And I'm over, so I come over and I'm like, and this lady, she's talking, she's just running her mouth, and I'm like, man, I go to the ma'am, okay, like, ma'am, please, just you don't have to say anything. Everything is going to be okay. I know this family. This family is a great family in South Charleston, okay. So what you said, what you allegedly said, was wrong. Okay, it was wrong, and it got a reaction properly. It got the proper reaction. But why can't you just stop?
But that's my point. Because my daughters were at cheerleading last year. There was incidents with adults. These are the adults arguing and fighting at the cheerleading competition. There was an incident at South Charleston Rec last year where the guys was a melee. Yes. There's an incident a couple years ago where Talib, I think I forget, I'm not pronouncing his name right, but he's a cornerback for the Denver Broncos. His brother is in prison for shooting somebody over a Little League football game. So I'm saying this is across sports where parents, there's a referee epidemic where the referees don't want to do their job no more. I seen a clip where the referee, they just beat the crap out of a referee. So I'm saying, to your point, like, at what point do we just, like, at what point are we going to just take it back and just say, man, this is just sports. This just.
It's just fun. Let the kids have a great time. Because I'll make the case that while these kids may feel hurt, especially when the game's close and you lose a close game, there's a reason to if they choose, they may cry, they may do whatever, they're frustrated because they lost. That's fine. You're the one who is supposed to tap them on the back and say, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal.
It's okay.
It'll get better. Yeah. But if you're in the bleachers cussing folks out, calling people names, like, how are you? What are you telling your kid?
And again, to what we were just saying, this is going from the biggest stage, the top professional ranks, all the way down. We got Draymond Green, playing WWE out here. Yeah. So I'm saying, like, at what point are we just saying from, our professionals to our parents? See, at what point do we just say, like, look, man, y'all this ain't, relax.
But check this out. Tell me if you think this is true. With Draymond,
uh-huh.
his stuff was cute for a while. Like him roughing people up or stopping the fight, and grabbing the guys.
Kind of an old school NBA type of thing. Yeah.
I think his started in where it was cute, and then it got to the point where he was doing it so much, because I think in my mind, I'm looking at this as like, okay, so I'm that guy. I'm the bouncer.
Yeah.
And he became the bouncer. And all of a sudden, once he became the bouncer, now it was like, oh, no, we can't have that. Well, you supported it in a way. You supported it for a while until now he's taking it too far. And I'm making the case comparing that is I think what you say in the bleachers as a parent, you can take that too far.
But okay, let me ask you that, because that's actually a great point. I didn't even think about it like that. Like, what? So how do we police that? Like, because it's easy with Draymond. You cost him some money, you suspend him some games, you threaten his career. Then it's like, all right, I'm gonna get my stuff together now, because it's like I'm losing money, I'm losing time.
Right. So he's gonna shut up and do the right stuff.
And do right after a while, right? But so how do we police the parent at the middle school in the loop? Because I'm telling, in the events and the incidents that we've named, that's probably half the incidents. It's probably a whole another list. Like, how do we police that?
I think we have to put him out. You can't stay in the gym and say these things. Somebody was put out of. We had a coach got put out early on in the basketball game the other day. And
what grade is this?
This was third grade All-Stars. It's third grade All-Stars.
Third grade All-Stars.
I'm pretty sure. Here's the thing. It was third, fourth, fifth.
Elementary school.
It's elementary school. And again, I get the passion. I support the passion to the degree until it becomes verbal.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think, because we talk about people toxic femininity, toxic masculinity, blah, blah, blah. Do you think we've reached the point in sports where we are our competitiveness has become toxic?
Yes.
Because and I'll say that and I'll bring my point home. To our degree, like what we were talking about the last time we were here, and we were talking about that competitive spirit where like you were competitive all day long, every day. Like, right. So whether we playing sports in school, playing basketball in gym, we playing four squares, we playing basketball, football,
wanted to win. Wanted to win.
You know what I'm saying? You at your practice and at your game. So your life was sort of competitive. So you learned sort of kind of balance that out, because you obviously wasn't going to win every race and everything you did all the time. So, and now I would say our competitive window is smaller because we're only like our kids are only competing really during the games. They don't have any other time to compete. So do you think it becomes toxic because it's that one outlet to get it out and they don't have any other way to get it out?
Are you speaking of like a single sport?
No, no. What I'm speaking is that, like I said, we played street ball.
Right.
We played football.
Oh, so this is the one area.
Yeah. Our competitive was 24 hours. So it was like you realize you're going to win some, lose some. But now I'm only really going to be able to be competitive during the games, essentially.
I give you that to a degree. But the issue becomes from the bleachers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
The issue is the bleachers.
The issue is the bleachers.
Kids, right?
It's not really the kids. They cry and all that kind of stuff.
Which
okay, that's okay. I like that. That as a passion,
yeah,
right?
Passion, yeah.
But when there's no competition in the bleachers. There's no winning and losing the game in the bleachers, and it's why I would talk. That's why I never say anything to the officials. Because why?
As a parent or coach?
As a coach. As a parent either. I'm not going to say anything because I know I can't change it. All I can do is make it worse. That's all I can do. And again, if you're a coach, you get thrown out of the game, you didn't help your team. What point did you make? Because the official, you might not have him as your official again. He's going to officiate somewhere.
Okay. I mean, even from...
Well, hold that thought. Hold that thought. We got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Carl Lee. Visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk for more.
Sponsorship opportunities are available. Contact Carl Lee at letstalk@promessage.com, Dale Cooper at dcooper@wvradio.com, or call 304-342-8131. Ask Carl a question or comment on current or previous episodes. Visit Let's Talk Carl Lee on Facebook. Like, rate, and subscribe from your podcast service to help more people find Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now, back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I was getting ready to say something, and I realized that I had the camera still on.
Yeah.
So,
But okay, I was gonna say what did we do about the parents? Because it's just like, I mean, again, to your point, that's where this toxic atmosphere is being had at. It's in the stands. It's in the parents. Because I mean, even I was at the high school games this past weekend. It was the MSA, the conference championship between Huntington and GW. I mean, for the most part, it was civil, but I mean, you did have a few parents that was a little bit off the
chain.
Yeah, I mean, talking to the refs and going just up and down, going crazy. I mean, you had more than a few. It was just like the atmosphere is just, it ain't fun to be there no more.
What I would tell an adult, a parent, that there's nothing you're going to gain by saying anything to the official. Do they make bad calls sometimes, miss a call sometimes? They're going to do that. That's part of the job. But what's going to happen is you may be part of the reason why some of these games end up getting canceled or end up with less officials because people don't want to be put up. They don't want to put up with that.
Yeah, it ain't worth the $75.
It's not worth. No, it's not.
That's
It's just
clearly not worth the
it's not worth it.
$75 or $100 or whatever you getting paid.
And
there's
then,
no way that you could ever convince me to do that.
There's a couple officials that we have a lot, okay, that work a lot at South Charleston, and one of them is real simple, right? To the point of like he ain't trying to hear. Everybody knows. Don't say nothing to him because he ain't gonna deal with a whole lot of mess. He gonna tech you. I love that. Cause you ain't yelling his name, you ain't cussing at him.
I mean, he's teching like the parents.
Oh yeah, he gonna tech you. Yeah, he's
like
gonna
the
tech
parents
you.
in the stands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and they don't, because I don't think they expect it.
You have to be that hard line.
Yes, you have to be that hard line.
That's crazy, man.
And again, this young brother who was officiating the game, our last game, like he literally teched the head coach, then turned around and had to tech him again, had to put him out. and like
elementary school game.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Like what is it? What is the value? To me, the value for me to watch my grandson play soccer. You know what it is? I don't care the score. I don't care if he scores. I'm happy if he scores because now we get to celebrate him scoring. But at the core of it, I just want him out there.
I just want him out there.
Yeah. And I'm happy. You know, I ain't going to say, oh, sorry, y'all lost. I'm going to be, hey, you played well, do this, da-da-da-da-da. And that's it.
And a part of it is just like, and I think that's the part that parents ain't get. Like, you're not going to train someone up from like, first of all, in order to really go to college, D1, D2, D3, if that's where you're going to go to play a sport, you got to have a different mentality to do that because it's a difficult task to do that, right? Just in and of itself, to go to class, to wake up, train, da-da-da-da-da.
It's been a long time since we've had that. We had that. We talked about this a long time ago, but we probably need to bring that back up because that's a valid point.
Because it's a difficult task. So what I'm saying is like, you're not maybe necessarily going to see that with most kids when they're like in 3rd and 4th grade.
Right.
It's going to be a matter of letting them play, letting them find a passion and love for it. Then once they get to like 8th, 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, then you'll be able to sort of train that part up and really take it as a vocation as opposed to something just fun. But particularly when you're in the tender years, like let them enjoy themselves because like I said, if they want to take it to the next levels, it's going to be a job.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, this is where it's supposed to be fun.
This is where it's supposed to be fun.
This is where they're learning and yes, when they cry because they lost a close game, you're like, "Hey, don't worry about it. You got another game tomorrow or you got to get another game next week. You'll get them next time." You know, that's all. You can't be mad and gotten thrown out of the game prior to your kid coming out and he loses.
And like I said, even like a baseball or basketball, right? I'm more pissed at the coach who is, if my kid's been with you 3 and 4 years and he or she don't know how to shoot a left hand or offhand layup, as opposed to you, whatever. I don't care what scheme you running. If you're in third, fourth, fifth grade, I want to make sure that my kid can dribble with both hands.
Right.
They can shoot layups with both hands. They know how to fundamentally play defense, and then all that other stuff we can learn as we go. But that's your job, particularly at that tender age. Do you know how to get in the 3-point stance? Can you bat with your right hand and your left hand? These are the things that's of importance.
The interesting thing about one of the reasons why I play basketball, because I believe basketball footwork is more demanding than it is in football. But if you can, I don't have to say master, but if you can get good footwork and playing man-to-man coverage in basketball, you can be pretty good in football. You're going to have some footwork. I don't think that we spend enough time on footwork.
Because we running plays, Coach.
We're running plays.
Like what we running plays for.
We running plays.
Man-to-man, motion offense, and I want to make sure you can dribble with both hands, shoot layups with both hands. If I'm coaching third, fourth, fifth grade, that's
if I can get him to shoot, and I can get him to play defense,
then we can do all that other stuff.
We don't need to play. We don't need to play.
I'm saying we could do all that after.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just like I think everything, and I think to me, and I say all that to say, I think the parents get lost in that too, because you're worried about winning. You're worried about what scheme the coach is running. If your kid can come out with a skill set going to the next level, that coach done his job.
And you also have to understand the reality and the skill set of your child.
Yeah, that's true too.
You have to understand, okay, he made All-Stars. She made All-Stars. But she's not in the top 8 players. So now there's no playtime in All-Stars. It's win and go home. And if your child if she doesn't play or he doesn't play because the game is tight, that's something that they have to get used to and understand. Because how many times do you go? How many times did you have to make that big step to the next level and you have to sit?
Yeah, and again, that's part of learning.
That's part of learning.
That's part of understanding. When you go through those levels, it's going to be different requirements.
You 2 years into All-Stars, I don't know, 4th grade, 5th grade, whatever, and you get 4th grade, then you get to 5th grade. Maybe now you can play.
Yeah, man. I just
but
I just think we've lost from the coaching to the parents, spectators. I think we've just lost the whole point of this.
It's.
I think we've just lost the whole.
Is there a way?
Of it.
Do you see another side? Like, is there like a bright side over the rain? Do we have a rainbow coming up?
I don't, because it's only going to get more intense. It's only going to get more valuable, so to speak. Particularly when we talk about the NILs, when we talk about just the coverage and the media and the glitz and glamour of it, that only heightens people's acuteness to want to pit winning over every part of it. You know what I'm saying? And we get more specialized. We do more training. Because, I mean, as a parent, I think part of it is like, hell, I done spent thousands of dollars with AAU and training and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I need a return.
I need a return, whether it's just you being good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know.
All right, so a quick shift. We have beat the transfer system up. Like we have talked about it. We tried to get people to see the reality of it. Yeah. But my co-host has took a deep dive into this whole reality. So when you start looking from 2009 in WVSSAC, the margins of victory in football has gone from 20 points to basically 40-some points.
40 plus.
40-plus points per game. Now, again, saying that, 2009, prior to all the mega transferring, to 2023, the margin of victory for those teams is more than 40%.
And there was a big jump from 2021 to 2023 too, right?
Yes, from 2021 it was below 30.
Mm-hmm.
But then in 2022, 2023, it just jumped off the chart.
Yeah, so it was about a 10, 15 point
Yes. Just in a matter of 2 years. So so what we're saying here, what that specific stat speaks to is the kid who's coming off the field who's losing by 40 plus points in football.
Yeah. Consistently. This ain't just like a game.
Yeah, this is not like a single game. This is average throughout a whole of it. So somebody scored 50, 60 points above another team.
Yes.
And that calculates in to get us to over 40.
Yeah, because when you talk about 40-point margins of victory, then that's pretty consistent. That's not 1 or 2 games.
Right.
That's
right.
like,
And so I'm gonna read out some numbers here real quick on just fall transfers. Basically, this is football. Well, no, it's not. It's football, soccer, volleyball, golf, cheer, cross country. All right. Yeah. AAA, 32 schools, 142 transfers.
Jeez.
142 transfers. Single A, 55 schools, 42 of them who play football, has 161 transfers.
Yes, about 300 kids. It's some schools in West Virginia with 300 kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Total, out of 124 schools, there were 432 transfers.
Sheesh. Men lie, women lie.
Come on.
You've been saying this. We got the numbers now.
Are you kidding me? Like 432 kids left their community to go play somewhere else.
And this is athletic.
Yes,
we're not saying overall. This is
straight athletic. This is specific athletic reasons.
And I'm sure it's a maybe
which is not at one time we said sports was not the reason why you could transfer. But now it is.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some plus and minus in here, but for the numbers that we gathered, it's darn near it's over 400.
So 11 weeks of regular season. Games in which a team scored 60 points was 54 times.
Yeah.
54 times a team scored 60 plus points.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever played on a football team that I got 60 points scored on me, or we got 60 points.
I was thinking about that. I don't know in high school. I mean, we had the JR Houses. We had some pretty explosive offenses, but 60 was a rarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Games in which a team scored 70 to 79 points was 8.
That's football.
That's football. That's not basketball. 8 times. Yeah. Somebody scored 70 or up to 79 points. Yeah.
That's 10 touchdowns. Plus.
That's in 2022. 2023 through week 9. Okay? Through week 9. Not 11 weeks, week 9. 60 plus points, 54 times.
Yep.
70 to 79 points, 26 times. 80 to 89, 8 points.
8 times.
8 times.
Mm-hmm.
90 plus points, 2 times.
That's crazy.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, okay? This is football. These are not points. These kind of stats do not make any sense.
Yeah.
It is saying that something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're okay, if you say, "Oh, well, that's just how it goes." No, it is not. No, it is not.
I knew you was gonna have a field day with this.
No, it is not. That is not how it's supposed to work. Because what it does is It destroys the confidence of the team that you beat. It puts overconfidence into the team that wins, because each one of those players are going to split up if they're blessed enough to play in college, and when they get there, they're going to see something totally different.
Yeah.
Because ain't nobody patting them on the back. Ain't nobody like sucking up to them and doing all that. This thing changes in college.
And I think what it does, kind of to the point of our previous conversation, it hurts the competitiveness of what's going on. I mean, my senior, we went 1-9, but we was in every single game. Every game was a dogfight if you gonna play us. We weren't a great team, but it was a dogfight every single. We ain't gonna. We're not laying down, and you're not gonna come down there and just smack us around. Although we weren't a very good team, every game was a fight. So it's like what those scores and what the margin of victory indicates is that it's just not. It's clear competitive advantages happen.
Well, and let's go. Let's just go to state. At coaching and you playing at state, we had probably the least budget.
Yeah, resources.
The resources. When it came to buying, we had no full scholarships. When I first got there, we had no full scholarships. So you come into school basically paying the majority until we got to a point we finally got scholarships. We had to piece it together and make that work. We didn't win a bunch of games, but we played.
Yeah, it was. We were never.
We were not going to get blown out. We were not going to quit.
It was one blowout I can really remember. Shepherd, it was a couple, but but they weren't like 60s and 70s. This is like 40-20 or.
Yeah, you felt bad if they got 30 points.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's like, but going back to that, I mean, these are clear. Just like I said, these are. It's almost a new division over there. Some of those schools.
So the teams that have lost players, if I'm reading this right, Hollis, it's Buffalo lost 20 kids.
And at a school,
how does 20 kids leave a football team? And
that's what, a single A school, right?
Yes, that's a single A school.
And at a Buffalo, if you lose 20 kids, that's like your football team.
Basically,
that might be your football team, basketball team, and half your baseball team.
Yes. On the flip side, looking at the teams who brought in the most transfers, I'm gonna say this one, and everybody gonna think like I'm like just calling this out. Hurricanes. 17.
Yeah.
Now this comes from the coach who says he was against transfers at one point.
Okay.
At one point, yes.
Okay.
Now, Huntington High, which shocks me, has 16.
Yeah, that don't shock me. They had a bunch.
See, I didn't really, I didn't think that.
And you got to think those kids, those border schools. You have the Huntington, the Parkersburg, who are like on Ohio, Kentucky lines and Virginia lines, and even like they can get kids from Ohio too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they can really get in a school. If you look at Bluefield, they lost big because they lost a lot of kids to Graham, which is on the other side, on the Virginia side.
Well, and then so let's see here.
I think Bluefield lost big. They lost a bunch of kids.
Bluefield, yes, they lost 20.
They lost 20, and most of them went to Graham, which is on the Virginia side.
And see, like you said, that's your football team.
That's your football team. If you're at a school like,
because they're not just coming in and saying, "Hey, anybody want to come here?"
Yeah, they're not taking your JV.
No, they're taking the best players that you got.
Yep, and then the best players' buddies are going with them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Let's see. George Washington, 14.
Yeah, in or out?
In. They brought in 14. Hoover brought in 13. Independence brought in 8. East Harding brought in 8.
Mm-hmm.
But the two double digits is Capital.
And losses. This is losses.
This is in losses. And Buffalo.
Capital lost how many?
Capital lost 17. Ladies and gentlemen, 17 from Cap.
Yeah, and that's
17 kids that somebody is saying, or a group of people saying these players can play.
Yeah.
Now, go back, look at Cap's record.
And that says it all.
And that tells you what.
And the thing is like when people will say, well, these teams didn't win championships or these teams. Here's the thing about if you lose 17 players and those players, a majority go here, or there, what happens is that they can fill gaps for that other team. So now they can play special teams. They can play those role players. So they may not be all-stars somewhere else, but it can help fill in the gaps for that team to make them a more competitive and solid team.
Nitro had 20.
In. Yeah, and they were a playoff team this year.
They were a playoff team. Midland Trail had 12.
Yep. I'm not sure about Midland Trail.
But so let me ask this question. Who is this championship for?
Like a minute, before you go there, is Martinsburg on that list? Are they in outward? Are they?
I didn't see.
Can I see them?
Yeah. I didn't see them.
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh. The reasoning, my question is, like, getting that championship, what is that? Is that a lifelong achievement that you hold on to? Whether it's the coach or whether it's the players or like why is it so valuable that that you have to go to an extent of bringing in kids from outside of your community? And if you got 19 transfers, you've already promised those 19 that they're going to play. They're going to play. So that's 19 of your kids are not going to play. So you bring in 19 to South Charleston, 19 kids in South Charleston are not playing.
Yeah.
And you ain't bringing my son in if he ain't playing. You got to be telling me something. You got to be saying, well, look, your son's going to play. Your grandson's going to start. We're going to play him at quarterback, and he's going to be our guy. Okay. Okay. Now, that has to be the case. But if I'm the parent at the school that my grandson's coming into, and your son is the quarterback, and now my grandson's coming in to be the quarterback,
yeah, it's tough.
How you not gonna be mad at that?
And man, and like I said, it just we obviously we're football centric at here, but if you look at the winter sports, there was 100 at the boys basketball, 106 transfers total. And I'm just saying that's all divisions. If you look at girls basketball, 59 transfers, wrestling, 41 transfers, swimming, 2 transfers. So, I mean, there's just as much transfer going on in other sports as there is football.
Yeah, and sounds like potentially even a greater number.
Yeah.
But again, and Hollis, I want you to comment before we get out of here on this. I truly believe that success in sports is a great thing. But success isn't the only benefit in sports. Competing, losing, working hard are some other benefits that are as great as winning because they're personal and something that's going to be beneficial for you as an individual.
Sure.
If you don't have that hard game that you lost, that you put everything into and you lost, what that's supposed to do for you is that's supposed to teach you something going forward. That things you don't get, sometimes you're going to have to work harder to get that thing that you want, that championship that you want, that job that you want. Mm-hmm. We're as the adults in the room, as coaches, what we're doing is we're trying to get our resume up by bringing in kids that are talented, using them for the benefit of us winning.
Yeah.
And really, who's winning? Who's winning in high school Who's winning in high school sports?
Well,
are the kids when you left high school? How long did you hold on to your high school
that's
football?
me though. I'm different, so I don't.
Okay,
really,
but I didn't hold on to high school. Who holds on to high school?
Because I think we had higher aspirations. I think some people. High school is it. They're like, I know
nothing's wrong with high school being it.
Because I went into my high school football Hall of Fame. That's a big deal for me. So I think that it does have fringe benefits. I think just taking our conversation like in totality, when we talk about bad behavior of parents, when we talk about competitiveness, when we talk about all of these things, I think that the thing that you have to get out of sports is what you need to get out of it. Sports are supposed to be a stepping stone to allow you to achieve something greater, right? So you may play sports in high school to get a college scholarship or get a part of your school paid so that way you can go on and do your career. Or in your case, You're using sports all the way up, track, basketball, all these things to get you prepared for when you go to the NFL. So you're athletically prepared to, have a long career. So that's what sports is supposed to be. I think that when we look at sports as like an end all be all, and I think it's indicative, right, of in the parents' behavior. And when we see like these just terrible behaviors that's happened from Biddy League on up, we're looking at sports as though this is it. When that's not it, it's just a part of the formation of the person that you're going to be. Because to your point, you're going to learn how to lose. You're going to learn how to win. You're going to learn how to work. Right. You're going to work. And then one of the most beautiful things is like you're going to learn how to develop a skill. Because like I said, if you can, you can dribble right hand layup, right hand layup. You got good work for defense. You've learned how to develop a skill just like you can learn how to be a computer programmer. Those are developing skills that can, be beneficial as you move along and maturate through your life. So I think we've missed those lessons and missed what sports, and again, I'll wrap it up. I was talking to somebody the other day and, online. And what I was saying to him was like, well, why? Because we was having an argument about playing multiple sports, right? And my thing is, well, you may be a football player, but you may be a so-so basketball player. But number one, you're going to get a different skill set and you're going to have a different bond with those basketball guys. Right. Those guys can still be your friends for life. Those guys can, work at some major corporation or own something that can help you get a job or get a business deal or something to that effect. So I think, developing skills, developing friendships, learning from what we're supposed to get out of sport is just what we are missing now.
All right, so we're going to end it there, and I'm gonna do my overtime here right after this, and so we'll continue a little bit of this after we close out. I appreciate you being here. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and we'll get back with you again soon.
The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WVRC Media, its management, employees, or sponsors. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Carl Lee. Visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk for more.